This is the Digital Trust Podcast. In every episode, we strive to bring support to those of you who serve on the front lines and in the trenches of data and technology. We endeavor to bring understanding to the under-resourced and underappreciated, help remove your stress, and provide relief to your pain. Welcome to the Digital Trust Podcast. Sit down with us as we give you hard-hitting advisory conversations to help you build digital trust with your stakeholders and clients, and actionable takeaways to help you become a digitally trustworthy organization.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Digital Trust Podcast. I am Christian, I'm your host, and once again we have Gabriel Friedlander joining us from Wizer in Boston, Massachusetts. Gabriel, welcome once again.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm enjoying this.
Fantastic. I am as well. Let's now turn our attention to a business discussion. Now let's talk about business leaders and business founders. And the reason that I say that is because we're probably talking to some security folks and a lot of IT folks, and they want to know how they can communicate with, understand, relate to the business leaders and support the business. So with that being said, as a founder yourself, how have you found that entrepreneurs, business leaders, and founders think?
So let's start with something that should be obvious, but it's not. Founders and especially founders, if this company is small, but also a lot of business people are risk takers, okay? And security and IT try not to take risks. So first of all, there's a huge gap there, right? When you're telling somebody about all the risk and they're like, how do you think I got to where I got, right? Like, I'm a risk taker. That's sort of the definition. Otherwise, we wouldn't have, achieved what we achieved. You have to take risk in life. You have to not be afraid. Just go ahead and do it. So I think this is a fundamental thing that we just think a lot of time the security guys and IT guys think they understand the best about risk. They think about how to mitigate risk. I think founders think about risk as opportunity. Okay, so there's this different way or different vantage point of looking at risk. Okay, so I think that's one thing. The second thing is the biggest risk for a founder, the biggest risk is that nobody wants their product, okay? That's where the risk starts. We need sales. So first of all, in the priorities, this is number one before anything. If we don't have sales, it doesn't matter if we get hacked or not. Again, that's how they think, it doesn't matter. We need to get to a point where we have enough sales, and then it depends also on where this startup or company is. If it's pre-seed or if it's seed, round A, round B, they're looking to get their funding, and they know that the VCs or the private equity or whoever that is investing in them, the angels, what they care about is growth. So priority one is growth. You're just pulling us back. Like, you want dollars that don't contribute to the most important thing that we have, which is sales. We can talk later about security. Okay, again, I'm not saying they are right. I'm just trying to put you sort of in their seat, what they care about. And I would say most of them think like that. I've been around so many founders, and hardly ever, unless they're in the cybersecurity space, security was even a topic to talk about. Okay, there's a lot of other things, like if you were hired, then they would probably say, well, that's why I hired you, right? So I don't want to be the one that thinks about it. I have so much on my plate. Why are you coming to me?
As an IT person or a security person, I hired you to take care of that.
Yeah, so just go take care of this. That's why I hired you. So they will basically push back and tell you, I know it's important. That's why I hired you. So do me a favor. In other words, go do your job, protect us. You're earning a lot, many of them think, because you're not contributing to sales or anything like that. So you're a high-paying Uh, um, even if you don't think you are, but they think you are. So just go ahead and do what it takes. You're a genius. That's why I hired you. You're really good. You impress me. Just do your job.
And so it is important for an IT person or a security person, if they want to have a seat at the leadership table in an organization, to really start to understand and then become literate in this language beyond just the pure risk of cybersecurity, let's say, or cyber risks,
Yeah.
or the tech speak. We want
Yeah.
to bring them over into the business discussion, have a
Yeah.
voice in that discussion, and have them understand what is a priority. So we may talk about things like operational efficiencies, market share, all those different things, but profitability and the financial numbers are first and foremost in a founder or an entrepreneur's mind, is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah. I'll tell you what they will appreciate. Again, having to talk to many and being a founder myself of multiple companies, here is how I would go about it if I was an IT guy or a security guy. I would reach out to the founder, to the business people, to my manager or whoever, and I would start with, look, so I'm in love with what this company is doing. I love the vision. I love the team. We all work so hard. What I want to make sure, priority number one for me is to make sure we don't go out of business. That's my priority number one, out of business. Like, I know I don't want to frighten you that there's a lot of risks out there, and I'm not saying that we won't be attacked or anything like that. I'm not saying that we won't be hacked. I just want to make sure that at the minimum, everything we work for, this entire company, won't go down the drain in a matter of minutes. Or is that if I come with a plan that this is the core of this plan, this is the objective, we're not going out of business. Not that we're not going to lose money, not that we're not going to work hard trying to figure things out, not all of that, just that we won't go out of business. I want to make sure that we have a continuous plan. Is that a good plan? I think every business owner would be like, yes, that sounds reasonable. And
And
when
I
you
was going
look
to
at
say
that,
there, just right there, Gabriel, that what they're doing right there is going to immediately resonate with the founder or the business leader. You're going to make
yeah,
that
because
connection with them right there because you're aligning.
exactly, because you understand me. Now you're protecting me, my asset, okay? So instead of trying to talk to me about tech terms and talk about operations and SOC and educate me about criminals and how the world works, don't do that. Just tell me what you're protecting. I'm protecting the core, not everything, the core of the business. So you're saying a few things. You're saying, I'm willing to accept risk, okay? And it's important. We may lose money. I know if you want me to protect you to the 100%, to be honest, I don't even think it's worth right now at this stage of the company. We're too small to try to protect the company on every front. So we may be hit with wire fraud, but that's so we may lose $50,000. I know that this sounds bad, but this won't take down the business. We may lose a lot of, we may lose things, but at the core of the company, we won't lose, for example, our brand reputation. Okay, we won't lose our entire customer database. We won't, whatever it is, we need to make sure that if somebody hacked us 24 hours later, we're still in business, recovering, but in business. Okay. So if you start with that and you convince them that you achieved that, now you can say, look, the business is evolving, right? We grew.
Phase two.
Okay. Wire fraud is not anymore a $30,000 or a $50,000 thing. Now it can be 3 million. Okay. So I think it's worth investing more. You always have to consider where the company's at, how big it is, how much resources it needs. And you have to be curious. You have to ask them. You have to ask the founder, you have to be curious about the business. Where are you going with this? All of those things. Once you have those business discussion, just look at what we're having right now. We're not talking about anything technical. We're talking about risk. And if you approve that, I'll tell you, look, here's what I need to just protect the core of the business. I need X amount of dollars, okay? And I'm going to go do my job because you hired me to do that. But at least there is an expectation and understanding between us that we are accepting risk. We may get hit with an attacker, with a wire fraud, with whatever, but we're good with that because we don't have endless budget to protect against every threat. However, the core things that may take us out of business, we're good with that, or we will be able to recover because we have backups, because we have whatever it is. I think that's a great discussion to have. And once you convince them and you build that trust that you understand them, then you can get more and more. And then you become sort of a person around the table that people listen to. If you're going to start trying to scare me all day long, I shut off. I'll be just like, but it never happened before. You're telling me all of this. This is not my first rodeo. I've been successful in the past. What happened this year that all of a sudden this became the most important thing in the world? What happened this year? Did the landscape change 180%? And that's sort of how they think. So you have to bring it down to a level that we can discuss at the core what's important, what's not, accept risk. It's so important for security people to accept risk and communicate back to the business. This is the risk we're accepting, and we don't want to be hit, but we understand that it's not worth protecting at all costs that part of the business, but it is worth protecting at all costs that part of the business. And it's a business discussion. That's it.
So practical and so helpful, Gabriel. So among everything else that I'm getting out of this, it's in that phase one, make sure that you don't go out of business. And then phase two, identify and protect the core of the business. And the interesting thing of what you're saying here is that the IT person and or the security person is leading this business discussion, which is fantastic.
Exactly. And they don't need to talk about all the technology they're using. Doesn't matter. Yeah. If backup is the most important thing, then we're going to have backup. Why does the founder or the managers care which backup it is? Like, we need backup because we decided that if we ever get a ransomware or we're attacked to a point where we're out of business, we can recover. Yes, it will take a week. It will cost us probably $100,000, but we won't go out of business.
I want to thank you, Gabriel, for coming on and being our guest today. And thanks to all the viewers and listeners for spending your time with us and being part of this conversation.
Thanks for joining us today on the Digital Trust Podcast. If you found this conversation helpful, please share it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter, please click the link in the description to subscribe. And to put your mind at ease, our newsletter will include episode summaries with key points and actionable takeaways, plus a heads up on the upcoming episode guests. Rest assured, it won't be a spammy sales message, and we will never sell or share your information. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.